Namaste. I used to be a journalist. Okay, I started my career at CNN. I was 16. I started at the Times of India. उसके बाद मैं वीजे बन गया, फिर मॉडल बन गया. पूरे अकल वाली काम मैंने पहले पहले कर ली थी. After all of those accomplishments, the only thing that people really know me from is Big Pucci. One of my boyfriends, when I was dating him for a while, वो जब उसकी मम्मी kitchen में होती थी, when he wanted like a kiss, he would say, "Pucci do na," and that stuck in my head. Now, what we're talking about today is something very interesting, which is about how to make a personal brand, all right? Now, while you've heard a lot of other brands, their companies, you haven't really met a lot of people where the person is the brand themselves, and that happens a lot. Influencer-led brands, तो पिछले कुछ साल में बहुत ज़्यादा वैस में आ गए हैं, but here we're still sort of coming into that idea. So there's a interesting thing where a lot of people say, यार तुमने brand शुरू कैसे की, तुमने किया क्या था, what did you come up with? So a couple of years ago, I was not always as gorgeous as I'm looking now. मेरा बहुत कील मुहां से pimples बहुत गंदे वाले होते थे. And I was always using a lot of these traditional remedies. Now, what happened on TikTok at that time was, we started really trending at about some 4.5 million people. And वो जो आयुर्वेदा चला, वो बहुत ज़्यादा चला. So a lot of people said, ये बंदा कौन है जो घर पे बैठ के स्किन केयर बना रहा है, नुस्खे बना रहा है. They were very excited about the fact that there was this one guy, and there was no other male influencer telling you how to do skin care. The fact that I'm a very proud LGBTQ activist sort of added to that, and that was really our story. So what happened was, that Nuskhe is a tricky word to have really taken, right? Because Dadi Ma ke Nuskhe is what you think about. And here we were trying to plagiarize that word. So shuru kar diya, we started the whole idea of Nuskhe by Paras that I founded in 2019. COVID chal raha tha. So apne Zoom com pe baithe hue the, everyone wanted to look nicer. Great time for everyone to be like, aapki skin chamka denge. What happened for me was actually incredible, and that's where the brand story is interesting. Today, I've actually met a lot of people outside who say, listen, we want to be able to replicate what you did with your brand. Like, they want to know, how is it that you really managed to monetize your entire life? Now, when you look at some of the aspects of what Studd Muffyn and Nuskhe and what we stand for, there are 4 of these big pillars that as a company we stand for. एक तो स्किन केयर, बिकॉज आई एम जनरली अ वेन शैलो पर्सन. अगर मेरा पिंपल मुहासा कुछ आ जाए, मेरा पूरा दिन बर्बाद हो जाता है. तो आई एम जस्ट लाइक, भाई इसको तो ठीक करना पड़ेगा. The other is the fact that my own family and my lineage, we come from this very beautiful, lovely, rich Hindu heritage. There was an Ayurvedic lifestyle there. And I think what we've done is, my seek, the words of wisdom for anyone trying to start a brand which is based on a person is, देखो एक तो इसमें challenges तो होते हैं, but opportunity बहुत ज़्यादा है. I think in a lot of the panels you've heard a lot of them talking about the fact that ad के revenue में इतना पैसा खर्च करना है, influence को लाना है, actors को लाना है, ये है, वो है. And at the end of the day, trust me, if you're hiring an actor to promote your brand, they don't really care. They're going to take your money and they're going to run. Influencers, even I was an influencer on my own. People would come, I was like, $1 lakh रुपए दे दो, I would post it. 2 हफ्ते के बाद मैं उसको निकाल देता था, उसका कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता था. For us, the advantage that we have as someone who is the brand themselves is the fact that every new thing I'm doing becomes part of our story. Now, if you are unfamiliar with what we do, I am the CEO and founder of 2 brands, Nuskhe by Paras and Studd Muffyn. We do crystals, which is interesting. That particular thing I am wearing is one of the most viral things we have talked about. If you're in the idea of crystal healing, if you like chakras, if you like meditation, which is all stuff that I deeply resound with. I was in Dharamkot last year, and बड़े interesting prerogative पे था. मेरे को लड़की से भी प्यार हो गया था, लड़की से भी प्यार हो गया था. And being the bisexual boy that I am, the LGBTQ activist I am, I really needed clarity. भाई मेरे को अच्छा कौन लगता है? That was also honestly a point in my life where I was also deciding, मैं शादी कर लूँगा, I can live that conventional life, I can make a baby and all of that. And I think at that point, because this very beautiful boy I met, he was doing a downward-facing dog in the yoga thing, मुझे बड़ा प्यार आ गया था उस पे. I really wanted to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, and I think I wanted that clarity, okay? Which is when crystals, when they came into my life, और रातों रात जिस चीज़ में बहुत अटका हुआ था, I think that clarity came to me, and that was incredible. देखिए, अंधविश्वासी तो मैं बहुत बैठा हूँ. I am a Reiki crystal healer, I am a Vastu expert, I am an Ayurvedic enthusiast, I am a 4G child, and I think when a lot of people say, how is it that your brand, मतलब एक हमने जो, पहले जब हुआ था, वो नहीं होता हम एफडीज की मैथ करते हैं, हम ऐसे 10 लाख की एफडी बना देंगे, इतने पैसे बनेंगे, 1 करोड़ की एफडी बना लेंगे, इतने पैसे, हमने सब किया हुआ है. आई फील लाइक मेरे 4 मिलियन फॉलोअर्स हैं, इनमें से अगर 1%, वो 1% का जो बिजनेस का रूल होता है, 1% लोग भी मेरा प्रोडक्ट खरीदते हैं महीने में, वो 40,000 प्रोडक्ट हैं आपके, मतलब आपका 2 करोड़ का रेवेन्यू आ गया मंथली, ऐसे तो बड़ा अच्छा है. आई डोंट नो व्हेन वी वेंट फ्रॉम दैट टू मेकिंग मोर देन 200 CR close to this year now, and that's the incredible power what social media does. Now, a lot of people interestingly think our story is very different because it is. You have this one person where everything that the brand stands for is because I'm talking about it. I'm a 4G child. I was built in with the ethos of India, Mera Bharat Mahan. I'm a deep patriot. I'm the cheesy person जो रोंगटे रोंगटे खड़े हो जाते कोई India India बोले. It's like that. And that's why in every single one of our products, we have Mera Bharat Mahan written, which we elected to do. Every single one of our products for Studd Muffyn and Nuskhe has the Love is Love, has the Pride logo. We are the only company in this country which is that large, which celebrates Pride to that scale. We don't need to do it. But when you're talking about building a personal brand, a lot of your identity is what is going to go into the brand. Now, the gentry might be different, the demographic might be different, but if you're someone who sort of follows a lot of my skincare, when they say, what do you need to make a brand, unfortunately, which is boring सी चीज़ें होती है, you have to have trust in the brand. It just sounds so boring, but वो सच्ची बात है यार. मैं घर जाके मेरे से बड़ा सा हिकी होगा, मैं Instagram पे बैठ जाऊँगा, मेरे को कोई बात करने के लिए है नहीं. I would just sit on Instagram, I would talk about the most gorgeous looking boys and girls I had met and how it was great and how it was incredible. People began to say Paras as a person is unfiltered, he's honest. You began to trust me, and that's why you began to trust the brand. There were lots of influencers saying, ye product khareed lo, ye laga lo, but every single thing I did on Nuskhe by Paras, which trended we had some 33 million views on just hashtag, all right? They said, but ye banda to apne aap face pe cheezein laga raha hai. People trusted you now because I was my own guinea pig. The fact that random things had not happened to my face is only a good thing, which means I knew what I was doing. Studd Muffyn and Nuskhe is really the story about creating a brand which is entirely based on one person. Now, I know we had already talked about this. Whenever you have a question, and I hope you have some nice questions, because मैंने कुछ prepare किया नहीं as usual. If you have a question, raise your hand, and I'll be very happy to answer it. That would be very nice. The one thing for us as a brand today, which is very exciting, is हमारे लिए one of the big challenges we had last year, this year. In March, I lost my father. You have to understand, we don't run ads, we don't run campaigns. Every single video of mine that you're watching as an ad is information. I think that's why it trended, because मैं आपको कुछ बचा रहा था. If I was also sending you an underarm cream, by the way, you'll be surprised at how many people really want glowing underarms. It's perhaps the most hottest product that more people really want. But every time I was selling you a product, I'm also telling you what's in it. There was a lot of education, which is why when other companies and brands have very clearly said ads don't work, when people say ads don't work, this doesn't work, that doesn't work, the fact is ads perhaps don't work because what we were doing was not making ads. Our entire Studd Muffyn team, what they do so beautifully is they take a lot of the jargon that I put out, a lot of the content that I put up, and it's packaged in such a way, that everything that you're really watching is giving you a lot of information. And I think that for us was a big cornerstone. You know, the LGBT angle for us was a very important angle, because I think as an actor, मैं news channels पे ना बहुत झगड़ा कर रहा होता हूँ about sexuality, and I'm always fighting on some news channel about gay rights activism, and I think it's very important. And for us also as a cornerstone, it was very important. Now, when we started this company, you have to understand, बहुत बड़ा difference है in you liking me as an influencer on social media at millions of followers versus you putting 500 rupees on the table because you trust me, मैं आपके बाल ठीक कर दूँगा. Popularity doesn't necessarily mean credibility. And that's the thing that most brands get wrong. They say, हम popular influence को लेते हैं, बिक जाएगा. नहीं होता. Because what you do is you have this person that you love for multiple other reasons. But do they have credibility? As an influencer, what we had to do was, and really to make this brand was, I took a huge hit where I stopped being seen with any other brand for about 2.5 years. You never saw Paras Tomar endorsing any other company except मैं तो कपड़े में भी अपना लोगो होता है. My co-founder Ankur Bhati, I also keep telling him, तुम ये सब कुछ पहनना बंद कर दो. You should only be seen with your own company. पहले मेरे को ऐसे 5-6 लाख per month मिल जाते थे, मेरे को बड़ा अच्छा लगता था as an influencer and stuff. But then I had to take a hit. For about 1 year, I never took money from anyone because I only wanted to be seen with our company. As a person, your biggest challenge as a brand will be, are you excited every day? अगर कल अंकुर में बोर हो गया, हमारा वीडियोस बनाने का मन नहीं किया, we are not innovating. This is not a company which has like 3,000 people who do their own R&D. We are the people who do the R&D. We are the people who tell you what this cosmetic will do or that product will do, because we are studying it every single day. When dad passed away, वो 3-4 महीने का जो मैं हिल गया था, we didn't really know what to do. Also, you have to understand from a marketing perspective also, and as a brand, please understand we've got salaries to pay. We've got a company today, which is, you know, other people, जब कोई evaluation होते हैं, आपके 2,000 crore से ज़्यादा के evaluation हो गए, I'm like, oh, nice, and I try to be like very calm about it. But अच्छा लगता है. But the fact is, when you have that responsibility after dad passed away, how was I supposed to go from saying, hey guys, I've lost my father, to saying, आप प्लीज पुच्ची वाम खरीद लो, ऐसे आपके lips ना बड़े अच्छे हो जाएंगे, plump हो जाएंगे. You also have to have that disconnect. I think the biggest struggle as a brand that you will find, because I know a lot of people today in India want to do what we have done, which in the West was already very popular, is about take a person and make it a brand. That means you, it's not your product I'm buying it because of your ideology, I'm buying it because of what you bring to the table. Which means, if I was talking about my sex life, which unfortunately I talk way too much about, if I talk about spirituality, yoga, which are things that I'm part of, you are buying into every single one of these. अब मैंने कल से कुछ रात, परसों से कुछ नहीं खाया है, मैंने परसों 1:30 रात को खाना खाया था. आई एम डूइंग अ 48-hour fast. बेसिकली मेरे हाथ में मोटा हो गया, दिवाली हो गई, ये हो गया, वो हो गया. I'm like, I have to look hot and whatever. न्यू ईयर पे मेरे को कहीं बीच पे जाना है थाईलैंड में, I want to look nice. A lot of people who follow my social media, when they meet me, while they are talking about the fact that मैं आपका तेल use कर रहा हूँ या कर रही हूँ, or I'm doing this and I'm doing that, they also are tuning into you because they know that you follow this lifestyle which is actually Ayurvedic, where I've gone back to the fact that we use long, elaichi, dalchini, we're using all these things that people I think related to that sentiment of saying यार मेरे को अच्छा लगता है बंदा ना kitchen में जाके चीजें बना रहा है, it's all natural and he's using it on himself. And I think that for me has been the biggest cornerstone. अब देखो ये तो मेरी बात है, but how do you turn this into a company which is doing, say, close to about 300 CR a year now? That is where the teams come in. It takes a whole village to make a brand. So the first advice to any entrepreneur who wants to be an entrepreneur is if you want to make a brand which is based entirely on your life, you have to have a team which believes in you. My co-founder, Ankur Bhati, when he met me, he had already watched some of the videos, he vibed with what I was talking about. All the masti I can do, I can say I can create this product, I want to make this, mujhe isme ye dalna hai, I will sit with the biochemist, we'll sit on the label together. But eventually that product gets made, shipped, delivered because of the fact that Ankur and his team do everything in their power to make sure that that product is being made a certain way to meet the quality standard. Dabba अच्छा लगना चाहिए, मेरी photo hot सी होनी चाहिए उस पे, सारी चीज़ें होनी चाहिए, customer care है, delivery which is a very very big partner. I mean इन्हीं के साथ I think we do about 2.5 lakh orders every single month now. You know, where I think on one of the episodes of Shark Tank that Ankur was only telling me about, there was this one particular brand, they said, तुम ये भी करो, तुम वो भी करो, तुम ये भी करो, वो भी करो, तुम्हारा focus नहीं है. Sure. Every brand, every ideology, you will have your own thing where you know what you can really do with it. For us, the strength was the fact that you are following Paras's life, which means I'm human. मैं पूरे दिन अपने face पे नींबू चंदन नहीं मल रहा हूँ. I also have days when I go through a breakup. I also have a day when I want to do yoga. I also have a day when I want to do puja part. I have a day when I want to learn. And that's why the life is so easy. Before I go, just one last challenge that I want to talk about is, as a brand, I feel that when you're trying to grow your own company, अगर आपकी खुद की personal growth रुक गई, आपकी brand की growth रुक गई. I've been saying this to our team so much. If I don't learn something new tomorrow or today, for the next 6-7 months, this company, we will make a lot of money. But 1 year from today, you'll say, what is Paras doing which is new? And I think if you take that as a double-edged sword, it also incentivizes you every single day to learn something new. And that's the key message I have for everyone who wants to build a brand. Innovate, live your life, have fun. And the more of that you actually tie in with commerce, I think you'll be deeply successful. एक token सवाल पूछो मेरे को अच्छा लगेगा. Like someone has a question. Oh, you have a question. Okay.
So I have the question is in two parts. First is, the brand is Nuskhe by Paras, right? Or Paras ke Nuskhe. So how many of these nuskas were actually passed on by your nani, dadi, or mama, or anyone, right? First part. Second part, at what point in this journey do you realize that, okay, this nuskha is something that I can create into a product for the brand? Because I know your posts are, you know, that every day there's a new post about a new nuskha. But sure, not every nuskha will become a product. So at what point do you decide, and is it the follower base, is it the, you know, effectivity of the reel, or what makes you decide that this is the one that should be a product?
So at the risk of sounding deeply politically incorrect, sometimes the virality of a video itself tells me this is what the audience really requires. अगर मैंने एक dark circle का video बना दिया, one part of it is the fact that भाई मेरे dark circle का video अच्छा था, मैं उसमें cute लग रहा हूँगा, funny लग रहा हूँगा, आधा nipple दिखा दिया होगा. When in doubt, guys, you want to go viral, show a nipple, you'll go viral. That's how the AI works, okay? But that, sometimes if a video goes viral, it's also for the fact that the video might be nice, but it's also telling me that the customer has that requirement. Now the thing is, I can tell you 10 nuskas for under eyes, but I will only probably make 1 or 2 products based on what you really need of some ingredient. So where did I learn the nuskha? That came from the family's heritage. We were this very interesting family. We have our own temples in Himachal. My mamus are the pujaris and all. So Ayurveda was part of the ecosystem for us. So I sort of grew up learning and doing all of these. My nani never really taught me that, but my mom was constantly ragdoing something. So हम Navy के, my father was Navy. राशन में जो सब्जियाँ आती थी, मेरे mom के face पे लग जाती थी. And I think that's how I sort of learned all of it.
Basically, people are buying with your products because the product is good, or you are selling as a brand, they trust in you, and that's the reason they are.
I love that. You know, this is something that we discuss so much very often. Please understand, you see an ad, I'm looking very nice, I've convinced you by ad. पहली बार आप जो product लो रहे, पहली बार, you're buying it because you like Paras. The first point of purchase for you is simply because you say, I like this guy, I like what he's doing, इसको try कर लेते. You will only buy it again, no matter how much you love me, if the product is actually good. And that's where we've been so lucky, because we work a lot. In fact, a lot, and I love Ankur for this, a lot of business partners will not take hits if a product is rubbish, and sometimes, you know, a product might work in one season and may not work in the other. He'll happy to be with me, like, we can take this off the shelf, and it's very important to do. So the first point of purchase, of course, is because of the virality of the video, but you're only going to buy a product again if it's incredible. Otherwise, no matter how much you love me, you are not going to pay that money, and that's just how the customer psyche is, all right? Namaste, guys. Big Pucci.